Hi, today we are going to talk about Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. For the purpose of this video, we'll be focusing on Tier 1. Now, let's look at what the Tier 1 means. Tier 1 basically means what we know SSNIT. SSNIT. So this is the Social Security and National Insurance Trust. This is being managed by a public institution, SSNIT. Now, let's look at the contribution and the breakdown. The employer and the employee are both mandated to pay this contribution towards the pension of the employee. The employer is mandated to contribute 13%. So we have 13%, and the employee is also mandated to contribute 5.5% of the basic salary. Now, the total of this is 18.5%. The 18.5% out of this, 13.5 is being managed by the public institution known as SSNIT, and the 5% is being managed by a private trustee, which will be covered in the Tier 2. Now, let's also look at an example of somebody who contributes his SSNIT, but his basic salary is 1,000 Ghana cedis. So if your basic salary is 1,000 Ghana cedis, the employer is going to contribute 13.5%. So it means that your SSNIT contribution is going to be 13.5%. If you multiply 13.5%, you are going to get 135. So your contribution for SSNIT is going to be 135 Ghana cedis. Now that you understand how the contribution is being done, let's look at who can even register for this SSNIT. Before you can start getting your benefit, you have to be at the age of 60 years. 60 years. And you have to contribute for a minimum of 15 years before you can get your benefit. This means that if you are above 45 years, you cannot register for SSNIT. You have to contribute for a minimum of 15 years plus your 45, then you can see that you are 60 years and you can get your benefit. Now, let's look at how the benefit is being calculated. The benefit, let's look at how it's being calculated. If you contribute for SSNIT for a minimum of 15 years, the rate at which your money is being calculated on is pegged at 37.5%. 37.5%. And anything more than the 15 years in excess is 1.125%. Let's look at somebody who has contributed SSNIT for 25 years. If you have contributed SSNIT for 25 years, the 37.5% is 15. Then now we have 10 years in excess. So if you multiply this by 10, you are also going to get 11.25%. This is the rate at which your contribution or your benefit is being calculated on. Now, let's look at the amount. With the amount, SSNIT also look at your best 3 contributions for a year. 2000. Let's say in the year 2000, your best contribution was 1,000 Ghana cedis. 1,000 Ghana cedis. In the year 2010, your best contribution was also 2,000 Ghana cedis. And then 2023, that is 2023, your best contribution for the year is also 3,000 Ghana cedis. SSNIT is going to find an average of these best contributions. If you add 1,000, 2,000, and 3,000, you are going to get 6,000 Ghana cedis. Now let's find an average of this 6,000 Ghana cedis. So because we are adding three numbers, you add a 3,000, 2,000 and 3,000. You divide this by 3 and we are going to get 2,000 Ghana cedis. This amount is being calculated on the 48. Remember, we had 37.5 plus 11.25% for somebody who has contributed for 25 years. So for you to get your benefits for every month, you are going to multiply 48.75 by 2,000, and that is going to be 975 Ghana cedis. So for somebody who has contributed SSNIT for 25 years, the best contributions 1,000, 2,000 and 3,000, and the person is going on pension, you are going to get 975 Ghana cedis as your monthly payment from SSNIT. Now, I believe you also ask, is there any minimum amount that SSNIT will require you to contribute? Yes, there is a minimum and a maximum amount. The minimum amount you have to pay someone for the person to get SSNIT contribution is 423.19. If you multiply 13.5 on this, you are going to get 66.16, which means that the minimum contribution someone can make for SSNIT is 66.16, and the minimum basic salary you have to pay someone for the person to get contribution is 423.19. Now let's look at the maximum amount you can contribute for SSNIT. The maximum amount is also pegged at 52,000 Ghana cedis, which means that if your basic salary is more than 52,000, SSNIT is going to consider only 52,000 and multiply the 13.5% on it, which gives you a SSNIT contribution of 7,020 Ghana cedis. So your maximum SSNIT contribution is also 7,020 Ghana cedis. I believe this is clear. Now, let's also look at, I know you have some questions to ask me. And the first question I know you ask me is that if I'm contributing SSNIT and something happens, what happens to my contribution? Let's look at somebody who is contributing SSNIT and then had a permanent disability. So if you are contributing SSNIT and you have a permanent disability, SSNIT starts calculating your benefits and will start paying you as at the time you are being assessed as somebody with permanent disability. So if you have a permanent disability, the calculation I have done will be done on your contribution and you start getting your monthly benefits. If you are contributing and you die in the process, God forbid, SSNIT is also going to pay a lump sum of your contribution and any accrued interest to your beneficiary. Normally is your wife or your children. SSNIT is going to pay to them a lump sum for them to also benefit from what you have contributed so far. I believe this video has been helpful. Like, share and subscribe for more educative content like this one. Stay tuned for the tier 2. Thank you.